Did you know that the water you use at home for domestic purposes can kill you? In fact, there's a high possibility it's already killing you right at this very moment. So, everybody, this is how to not get killed by water. So, check it out. We live in a world filled with all of these other tiny little worlds in it, most of which we can barely see with our eyes. The term microbes is used to describe several different life forms with different sizes and different characteristics. And the real kicker is that these tiny little guys are invisible to the naked eye, which is why we call them microorganisms or microscopic organisms, as they can only typically be seen under a microscope. Another scary fact is that they make up almost 60% of all of Earth's living matter. Just imagine that for a second. If the world's population is about 8 billion, what do you think their population is? Okay, so taking you into the world of microorganisms, I gotta tell you about bacteria. Bacteria are good examples of microorganisms as they possess all the characteristics that make up a perfect microorganism. Some bacteria are harmful, sure, but most serve a useful purpose. In one way or the other, they support many life forms such as plants and animals. In addition, they also live inside and outside other organisms. Simply put, they're everywhere. In the air we breathe, in the food we eat, in our houses, and most importantly, as far as this video is concerned, they're in the water that we drink. Remember when I told you that the water you use at home could kill you? Well, the reason I said that is that some of these bad guys, the bacteria, present in your water are really harmful and detrimental to your health and are silently making you sick. And Legionella is one of the biggest, baddest guys around. Legionella causes a kind of pneumonia called Legionnaire. Legionella is common in many environments, including soil and aquatic systems, and it has at least 50 species and 70 serogroups identified. Legionella acquired its name after an outbreak in 1976 of a then unknown mystery disease, which sickened 221 people and caused 34 deaths. The outbreak was first noticed among attendees at a convention of the American Legion, an association of U.S. military veterans. The convention occurred in Philadelphia during the U.S. bicentennial year on July 21st through the 24th in 1976. This epidemic among U.S. war veterans occurred within days of the 200th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, and it was widely publicized in the United States. This bacteria was dubbed Legionella on January 18, 1977, because of the source of its outbreak at the American Legion in the United States when the disease was unknown. Water, undeniably, is one of the most important elements of life, and it's impossible to live without it. And the shocking fact is that this bacteria, Legionella, is water-friendly. The bacteria can become a health concern when they grow and spread in human-made water systems like shower heads, sink faucets, cooling towers, structures that contain water and a fan as part of a centralized air cooling system for a building or industrial processes, hot tubs, decorative fountains, water features, hot water tanks and heaters, as well as large, complex plumbing systems. But don't worry about your home and car air conditioning units because they don't need water to cool the air, so they're not at risk for Legionella growth. However, Legionella can grow in the windshield wiper fluid tank of a vehicle, such as a car, truck, van, school bus, or taxi, particularly if the tank is filled with water and not genuine windshield cleaner fluid. The life cycle of Legionella is quite an interesting one. It basically has two distinct phases, a replicative phase followed by an infectious or transmissive phase. The replicative phase features a non-motile bacteria with a low or non-existent toxicity. However, the infectious phase occurs after a transformation that leads to a uniquely modified body wherein the body is shorter and thicker, like a rod. This new form is motile or mobile because of the growth of flagella. That's a tail-like body structure which is much more toxic to its host. The change from the replicative to the infectious phase occurs once the bacterium has depleted or exhausted the local nutrient sources in the host. It will interest you to know that one of the major hosts or abodes for Legionella is the human body. What it does is it first attacks and destroys the human protective cells. This allows it to take charge of the human body where it starts to replicate. This bacterium will also surround itself with a thick wall or a membrane to prevent it from being broken down by enzymes in the human body. Once the nutrients of the cells which can defend the human body from the infection of Legionella are depleted, then the newly replicated bacteria move into their transmissive phase, destroying or breaking down the host's defensive cells. After Legionella grows and multiplies in a building's water system, water containing Legionella can spread in droplets small enough for people to breathe in. People can get Legionnaires disease or its lesser variant Pontiac fever when they breathe in small droplets of water from the air that contains the bacteria. When exposed to Legionella, it would take at least 2 to 10 days to develop symptoms. It also frequently begins with some of the following symptoms: headaches, muscle aches, fever that may be 104 degrees Fahrenheit or 40 degrees Celsius or higher. By the second or third day, other signs will start to show up, like cough, which might bring up mucus and sometimes blood, shortness of breath, chest pain, gastrointestinal symptoms such as nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea, confusion, or other mental changes. Although Legionnaires' disease primarily affects the lungs, it occasionally can cause infections and wounds and in other parts of the body, including the heart. It's always safer, easier, cheaper, and less stressful to prevent rather than treat an infection or a disease, which is why it's important to maintain your water supply properly. This means that it's really important to regularly flush out the water in our pipes to avoid stagnation, which is a breeding ground for this bacteria. Also, water systems should be periodically inspected and, if necessary, disinfected. Water features and fountains should be routinely cleaned as well. The good news is that all you have to do to flush your pipes is just leave your tap running for about 5 minutes. Treating Legionnaires' disease requires proper antibiotics. However, if you suspect you've been exposed to Legionnaire bacteria, you can contact your healthcare provider immediately and do a simple urine test analysis. If the information in this video was helpful and educational, it just means that I've achieved my goal, which is to help bring you some important health information with a little bit of enjoyable entertainment. If you like this video, then check out our other content. You can follow the prompt on your screen right now to watch our other educational and entertaining health videos. And while you're doing that, please remember to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, thank you very much for choosing to spend your time with us today. We'll see you in the next video.